Could I try it? No, because Sunny said it wasn't.
She's working on it.
Yep.
Ready.
I'd like to call to order the Municipal Housing Agency Governing Board for today, August 24th, 2026. Please take the roll.
Boza,
Here.
Simonson,
Here.
Voss,
Here.
Barron,
Here.
Mandelbaum,
Here.
Gatto.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Next item is approving the agenda as presented and/or as amended.
Move.
It's been moved and seconded. Please vote.
Six yes.
Motion carries. Next item, item number 3, is the approving submittal of the Des Moines Municipal Housing Agency's 2026 Section 8 Management Assessment Program certification to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Move approval, Your Honor.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please vote.
Six yes.
Motion carries. The next item is approving the removal of property at 1248 McCormick from approved disposition application.
Move approval.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. All in favor, please vote.
Six yes.
Motion carries. The next item is a motion to adjourn this portion of the meeting. Municipal House.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This meeting's adjourned. We will reconvene in a couple minutes with our regular city council meeting. Thank you, Garland.
My mistake, Linda. Slip of the tongue.
Okay.
I'm in here, I just got tied up.
Yeah.
In another meeting.
Nobody's perfect.
I'd like to call the Des Moines City Council meeting to order for Monday, August 24th, 2026. Please take the roll.
Boson,
Here.
Simonson,
Here.
Voss,
Here.
Barron,
Here.
Westergaard. Here. Mandelbaum,
Here.
Gatto.
Here.
We have a quorum.
The next item is approving the agenda as presented and/or as amended. It was amended at 3 p.m. today. 4I has been added, consideration of a new 12-month Class C liquor license for Blue Sushi Sake Grill at 316 Court Avenue. I am sponsoring that. Next item is 55, is the updated speakers list.
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Please vote.
Seven yes.
Motion carries. The next item is the approval of our consent agenda. Those are items 3 through 47. These are routine items and will be enacted by one roll call vote without separate discussion unless pursuant to the council rules. Council requests an item to be removed to be considered separately. Tonight, we have item number 5 is Voss is no. Item number 6, Voss is no. 8 is Voss and Mandelbaum would like to speak. 9A, Voss would like to speak. 29, Mandelbaum would like to speak.
Move approval, Your Honor.
Excuse me. Go ahead, Mayor Bozen. I thought I had requested 35 be pulled from
Okay.
consent. Can we still do that in the course of this meeting?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
I'll move it with that.
with
change.
that change.
Absolutely.
It's been seconded?
Second.
You second
Okay.
A second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, please vote.
Seven yes.
Motion carries. Item is our hearings. Item number 48, a request from Adrian L. Strain and Laura J. Strain, owners, to amend the Plan DSM, creating our tomorrow comprehensive plan to revise the future land use classification of the property from business park to low-density residential, and to rezone 4027 Southwest 56th Street from EX Mixed Use District to limited N2B Neighborhood District to allow reconstruction of a one-household dwelling unit. 48A is first consideration of the ordinance rezoning 4027 Southwest 56th Street. 48B is the final consideration of ordinance rezoning 4027 Southwest 56th Street, waiver requested by the applicants, and it requires 6 votes. First, parties in interest, applicant for rezoning and those within 250 feet of the property to be rezoned will be given up to 5 minutes to speak. Second, are germane comments from the general public, 2 minutes per person to speak, 20 minutes maximum. Is there anyone wishing to speak to this tonight?
Seeing none, Madam Mayor, I'll move item 48, 48A, and 48B.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All, please vote.
Seven yes.
Motion carries. The next item is 49, on request of Greater Des Moines Habitat for Humanity, Inc., Ryan Doyle, officer, to revise the future land use classification from low-density residential to medium-density residential, and to rezone 6100 Hickman Road from N3B Neighborhood District to limited RX1 Mixed-Use District to allow the construction of row home buildings containing approximately 22 dwelling units. 49A is first consideration of the ordinance rezoning 6100 Hickman Road. 49B, final consideration of ordinance rezoning 6100 Hickman Road. Waiver requested by applicant requires 6 votes. First is the parties of interest, applicant for rezoning, and those within 250 feet to be rezoned. You'll be given 5 minutes to speak. Germane comments after that, 2 minutes each. Is there anyone wishing to speak to this?
Seeing none, Your Honor, I'll move 49, 49A, and 49B.
Been moved and seconded. Please vote.
Seven yes.
Motion carries. Item 50 is on the proposed urban renewal plan for 6100 Hickman Road urban renewal area. 50A is resolution of necessity for the 6100 Hickman Road urban renewal area. 50B is the first consideration of the ordinance approving the 6100 Hickman Road TIF district. 50C is the final consideration of the ordinance approving the 6100 Hickman Road TIF district. Waiver requested by Carrie Cruz, Economic Development Administrator, requires 6 votes. Germane comments from the general public will be allowed. Anyone wishing to speak to this?
Seeing none, Your Honor, I will move approval of 50, 50A, 50B, and 50C.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please vote.
Seven, yes.
Motion carries. 51, on the proposition to authorize a lease agreement with Industrial Scientific for the lease of atmospheric monitoring devices and services for the use by the Public Works Department not to exceed $35,013.72 for a 4-year period. Again, germane comments, 2 minutes per person.
I see none, Your Honor. I'll move item 51.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Please vote.
Seven, yes.
Motion carries. Item 52 on amended and substituted lease agreement with JAPA, including an option to purchase city property located generally at 2501 Morris Street. Again, general comments from the public, 2 minutes per person to speak. Up to 10 minutes.
I see none, Your Honor. I'll move item 52.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please vote.
Seven, yes.
Motion carries. The hearings are now ended at 5:07. Next item is item 8, approval of a contract and bond for construction of a public improvement with estimated cost below Iowa Code competitive bid threshold. Greenwood Park Pond Bridge, Absolute Concrete Construction, Inc., doing business as Absolute Group. Rick Pearson, president, for $77,400. I believe we had 2 people wishing to speak. So, Councilman Voss?
I'll start. There was a bridge at the north end of the Greenwood Lagoon. It was part of the Mary Miss installation, and it was removed when the Mary Miss project was, I think last year? Anyway, the bridge has been missed, so to speak. And this is a great example of how one person can make a difference. Diane Graham missed the bridge and talked to people in the city and found an individual who would underwrite the replacement of the bridge. And I think this is a great example, Diane exemplifying, there's an old saying, I think the Dalai Lama said it originally, that if you think you're too small to make a difference, you've never tried to sleep in a room with a mosquito. And I'm not comparing Diane to a mosquito, but she did some great work in getting this over the finish line, and I think it could lead to other improvements in Greenwood Park. So with that, I'm going to pass the baton to Josh, but this is a terrific project going forward.
Yeah. So I want to echo Carl's comments and thank Diane for her persistence and her advocacy, but also acknowledge that this is just kind of the first part of this. And Greenwood Pond was not going away, and that was the promise we made to residents, that it would still be a part of our park system and we would work on amenities in the future. We recognize the challenge of our budget right now, but that doesn't mean that we can't start envisioning what can happen, particularly when we have residents who are as engaged as they are, who, if we if we have that vision for what we think this park should look like and what amenities should be in place, I think we have people who will participate and will help us make that a reality, searching out funds and being engaged to bring some of those amenities to life. So I hope we don't sit on this and we can build on this momentum and work with others on what else may come and fill this space now that we're at this stage.
So do you want to move it, Josh?
Sure, I'm happy to move item 8.
And I'd be happy to second Josh's motion, so.
Yeah, it's a great project and very thankful for our citizens coming forward. So with that, it's been moved and seconded. Please vote.
7 yes.
Motion carries. The next item is item 9A, I believe.
9A.
Approving naming of the Tim Lane Trail stop on the Caris Call Connector Trail. I should know that.
Oh, this is a delightful evening tonight that we are two small projects within our parks and trails that are going to move forward. There were more than 60 individuals that contributed to make this stop along the trail, including our friends in Carlisle. The Friends of the Carlisle Parks also contributed to this project. And I had a lengthy commentary of all that Tim Lane has meant to the community, including 30 years in the Iowa Department of Public Health and an advocate for his great aunt, Carrie Chapman Catt, and the 19th Amendment. He coached volleyball. He founded Team Skunk. He rode across Iowa 50 times on a bike. And just to give you a slice of Tim's humor, he was so proud that when he was growing up in Waterloo that he actually beat Dan Gable in basketball. He decided he was a little too old to bike all the way across the United States from the Pacific Ocean to the Atlantic. So Tim went to the Panama Canal and did ocean to ocean in 6 hours. So gives you a little bit of slice of all the variety of things that Tim has done. He was also the first person who saw a bike share program at a national convention in Denver and brought the idea that became the Des Moines Bike B-Cycle program. So with that, I would like to move 9A, please.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please vote.
Seven yes.
Motion carries. The next item.
29.
On the Second Amendment to the Fourth Restated Citywide Urban Revitalization Plan to suspend tax abatement effective December 31st, 2026, and preserve eligibility for qualifying permitted projects with value added that date under current abatement schedules, 9/14/26.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'm glad to see this item on the agenda. We started this conversation with a work session on June 8th, discussing the impacts of the legislative changes to property tax and how keeping this abatement schedule in place would, because of the way they treat, or rather do not treat or do not allow existing economic development tools to contribute to the new valuation, that this is essentially a penalty and furthers our structural deficit if we keep this in place. So I'm glad that we are taking corrective action. The one thing, since this is set for hearing and the hearing is not for another 3 weeks, the one thing I am hoping, I actually would love to see us be a little bit more aggressive. We had our meeting June 8th. Other cities were dealing with the same situation. On June 12th, Pleasant Hill repealed its tax abatement effective immediately. So we've waited 3 months already. I think it's fine to give some notice. I think we're being a little too generous with the notice we are providing. And I would encourage folks to consider a potential amendment that would be maybe in the October timeframe to say folks have to come in for permits, still giving them a full year to get things constructed to get the value, but to get the process started a little earlier. And I recognize there might not be support for that, but if folks are willing, we could have legal draft that up. And if there's not support for it, we don't have to amend it. But if there is support, we're at least prepared to go forward without delaying action further. So that is my hope, that we can consider moving this deadline up. But I'll leave it to my colleagues. I'd like to, what I would do is just move this item and ask staff to come with amendment options for earlier phase out for consideration if there's support among council.
Move it as is then, Josh?
Well, move it as is, set the hearing, but direct legal to just have amendments that can be considered at the hearing, if council so desires, to have an earlier phase out. That way, if we don't do this now and we waited till the hearing to do it and we wanted to do it, we would have to delay and bring this back at the following meeting. If we direct legal to bring the amendments, we have the ability to consider the amendments, or we can move forward with it as drafted. I'd like the ability to consider the amendments at our next meeting. That's all I'm asking for. So I would make a motion to move this and direct staff to come back with amendments for an October phase out rather than a December phase out for consideration if council so desired.
Mayor, I understand where Councilmember Mandelbaum's going, and we're in a difficult position, but I'm not completely sold that what this is going to do to our development in the entire city. I have a lot of farmland, green space in Ward 4 that's finally going to have sewer and water, and now they're going to have no economic incentives to do anything. A lot of our affordable housing is done with tax abatement, as we all know. A lot of the multifamily is done with tax abatement. Hopefully, we're going to have a different tool, but that hasn't been clearly spelled out yet for that. So, I mean, there's, we talk a lot about affordability and about affordable housing. This is going to hurt that. Everyone knows that. People's rent will go up if we don't include something, or what we've heard, and Councilmember Simonson has been part of the conversations. Councilmember Westergaard's been part of the conversations. Nobody's going to build here is what we've been told. Now, I don't necessarily believe that. I think that we will definitely see a decline for a while. So I'm not sure how aggressive me personally want to be in making this a shorter timeline.
Okay. So, yeah.
Mayor, if I may, I ran on this issue 2 years ago when you became mayor. Was that a little over 2 years ago now? In that I have felt as an architect that we just have given too much in terms of tax abatement, and the state has given us an opportunity to pause, and that's a healthy thing. Tax abatement might come back, and that might be a healthy thing. I guess per Josh's recommendation, I guess I don't have a problem with it. I don't know what 4 weeks is going to matter.
Either way.
And I don't care for these kinds of motions to be made without having had prior conversation rather than at this dais. But I'll second the motion, and that we still have time to talk to some of our developers so that they understand, because Des Moines by far has the greatest tax abatement program. And that I know there have been discussions with developers and that they have been marketing properties for years with the understanding that there is tax abatement and they're going to have to pull back on some of that. They might have sold half the homes, let's say, in a development, and they've made commitments to the others. So we have to be sensitive to what some of these developers have made commitments to potential buyers. But, Josh, your request is basically to speed it up by 4 weeks. Why? But I'll second it.
I'm sorry. I guess clarify the motion for me then, what exactly it is. So December 1st, we're going to do it instead of January 1st?
We're not changing anything now. All we are doing
Setting the hearing.
is setting the hearing. And to Mike's point, I'm just asking for an option. Option to discuss phasing it out earlier. We don't have the option to discuss that at the actual hearing date unless we direct staff now to come back with those options. So it's just setting us up to have that conversation. I understand that others may not be in that place, and the most likely outcome is as it is drafted. But I just wanted to say I think it's worth having that conversation. And to Councilmember Simonson's point, I'd actually go a little bit earlier. All we are doing is reacting to where the legislature is at. Doesn't change things if you've already completed your project and are eligible. And we're still going to give people, if they pull the permit, I'm okay giving them a year to, the time to get this done. But this is just how we phase it out. And I get that so I appreciate the second. We're not trying to, if there's not support for this, and I'll try and have conversations in the next 3 weeks, we'll just deal with the motion as drafted. But, I would have liked to have this conversation during our work session, and this gives us the opportunity to have exactly this conversation.
So just for clarification's sake, you're not necessarily recommending a particular date other than the end of the year, but you're just asking staff to come back with at least one other option other than the end of the year?
Yeah.
He wants it earlier.
Which is earlier than the end of so it just gives us more options to talk about when we come back in September.
Correct.
So I'm supportive of having more options. I don't know I think staff made a convincing case about the end of the year to me when they met with me, but I'm willing to consider other options. And so if this vote is just about give us a few other options to think about when we weigh this really important decision, I'm good with that.
Just options to amend if we so desire.
So question for you, Scott. I know I've met individually with Cody Christensen about this topic. Has Cody not had discussions with all council members about this? Is this something that,
So yes, that has happened.
and there was different options that Cody presented to us during my individual meeting. I don't know about everyone else because I wasn't part of those meetings. So I'm just wondering, I don't understand why
Let
we're.
have him.
Just a second. I know Cody's going to probably go in the same direction here. The staff can provide options, but I don't want to lose sight of the perspective of the home builders themselves, who may already have contracts for this work to be completed between now and the end of the year, and just may not have gotten all the permits in yet. And so I think this would be a huge surprise for them to cut it off that quickly, but I'll let Cody talk through what the touch points are for the permits, construction that actually improves value. If you could explain. Thank you, Cody.
There
There we go.
Got it.
Cody Christensen, Development Services Director. To answer some of the questions, yes, I brought forward a recommendation to amend the tax abatement plan that would bring it to an end at the end of the year. Of for any projects that had obtained permits and had been started. So they have added taxable value by the end of the year. This is a tough decision. This is a tough decision for council to make. That recommendation was brought forward with the intent of trying to strike a balance with being fiscally responsible while still maintaining the relationships that we have with the development community that does invest in the city of Des Moines. So no matter where we set the deadline, there's going to be projects that just don't quite make it, and those will be unhappy with that deadline. It doesn't matter where we set it. There will always be that situation. Can we draft other options? We certainly can. And we can bring those forward for the September 14th meeting.
Will we have those? I mean, so we're just going to have this discussion on the 14th? Or are we going to have during our work session, or what? What are we doing? I mean, this isn't typically, I mean, I just.
I think we'd have to see what the advantage.
So
Frustrating how
advantage or
things just get
disadvantage?
thrown on the table at the last minute after you and staff and the limited staff that we've got now is taking time. We've all taken time to individually meet with you, given our 2 cents to you of what we should do. And now in the 11th hour, we're just going to throw this on the table and be like, hey, we need some different options and
That's
we
right.
all need to talk about it.
That's-
If we want to talk about it at the workshop, why don't we Wednesday? I'm fine with that.
So
yeah, we have that option because it's,
So we're talking basically a
we got to
month,
put notice in first thing in the morning.
basically
Well,
approving.
we have a work session. We can, I mean, it could be part of our work session.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
mean,
It
it's
can be
already
guidance without a
scheduled.
decision.
Yeah. We can't do that on Wednesday? We can't have that included in our topics?
Tom, I think we can add an agenda item that has no action other than to give guidance for this Wednesday. Okay, so
And
yes.
will you have different options that you've already explained to me? I don't know what you explained to everyone else, but you've given me some options.
So in the draft proposal, there are two key elements. Have the permit obtained, have the permit issued, and have the project started
By,
by the end of the year.
I thought the
So-
permit only had to be the end of the year, and then the permit is good for a year.
So to be eligible, any project would need to have a permit issued and the project started
Okay.
by the end of the year. So any project that has that is then eligible for the full abatement schedule under the current plan.
Okay.
That date can be changed, or the date for the permit could be changed. I would request that we not change the project start date because of the way that we define that by having value added by the end of the year.
Okay.
The assessor's office makes that determination based on the calendar year. So if we try and move that up, that makes an already complicated plan even more complicated to administer. So if council is going to consider making changes, I would recommend just change the deadline to have the permit issued.
And the deadline to be,
whatever you want, I guess.
This is entirely a council decision.
And Councilmember Mandelbaum, you're asking to have it like, once we do this hearing, you're asking us to end it immediately. Is that what your thoughts are? Because I don't know what your thoughts are, and I'd like to know what you're thinking here.
Well, and so I didn't have an opportunity to have back and forth because I believe I was the last person who Cody had met with because I was out on vacation. But what I raised to Cody was I like the fact that this had a couple of different kind of checkpoints, right? There's one checkpoint for the permit, and then there's movement on the permit. There's value add, which is embodied in this by the end of the year. I thought it made sense to separate those out a little bit and say, okay, if you're serious about this, you've had already 3 months of notice that this is likely going away, or that we started talking about this going away back in June. Let's make that permit checkpoint, not the value add checkpoint, just the permit checkpoint a little bit earlier so that the two are spaced, so that there continues to be progress. And maybe it's not that different, because if we have the value add and you don't get the permit by October, there's you're not going to have started your project anyway. So it might not make that much difference.
Yeah, right.
No, it would make a big difference.
Mayor, may I? I'm going to withdraw my second. Understanding the development business, it's not as simple as two components, having a permit and starting construction. Scott mentioned contracts. I assume that when Scott starts talking to developers, they will produce contracts with buyers that don't have a permit, that haven't started construction, and may not for several months. I'm happy to listen, but I think it's going to be for naught.
And if I could just add, I'm not sure December 31st, if I wrote a contract today to build a new house in Des Moines, it's gonna be at least December before you go through your plan and specs, you've got your design phase, you've got everything that's involved. Even December 31st is gonna be pushing it. I'm not happy with December 31st, but
Okay, so.
I mean, that really, December 31st definitely shortens up the time frame. I mean, if I was going to go purchase, some developers have sold some of their lots to other developers or home builders. And, they're getting other people under contract to build their home and to do those things. And yeah, I don't know what 2 touch points. I mean, if you don't have value by December 31st, you don't get the tax abatement. It's pretty simple. I don't care about any other touch points. I mean, that is very simple. I don't know why we're trying to complicate it, but whatever I don't understand what we're trying to do.
End of the day, we know that this is being
complicates
proposed. And to add another element to it when we're trying to be in good faith to developers and everyone, I think it's even more complication. We are getting to the end of what the state wanted, I believe, and what many of us had agreed to. So we're on the agenda today.
I can withdraw my emotion. And
And I
someone
can have a
just move.
second.
I think we can
without
still
his
have the conversation about it on
Yes,
Wednesday.
okay.
I don't have any problem
He's
with that.
withdrawn the motion. The motion is for what's on the table right now.
I move approval of item 29.
Okay.
Second.
Okay,
Somebody's-
with that, let's vote.
Okay.
Seven, yes.
Item passes. The next item, 35, memorandum of understanding with the Council of St. Vincent de Paul Society for Storage Locker Pilot to serve individuals experiencing homelessness. Councilman Byrne?
Yes, I appreciate it. And if Chris Johansson doesn't mind coming up to the dais, I just have a few questions. I want to talk through this proposal. I got a lot of feedback from neighborhood folks just today on this, and just kind of want to better understand it and then identify maybe a couple of constructive pathways forward before we move forward on this one. So, Chris, if you don't mind, could you just walk us through what the goal is of this proposal?
Yep, Mayor, members of council, Chris Johansson, Neighborhood Service Director. Just a little background, as a part of the Bloomberg Harvard City Initiative, the city took on the topic of looking at homelessness, and one of the first things we did was to do 25 different interviews across the community. 20 were with individuals that were actually experiencing homelessness. From that, we took that data, met with other service providers, went through a bunch of ideation sessions. If you remember that discussion we had with a couple, involved some of the council members. From that, we came up with 10 portfolio ideas. And one of the ideas that came out of that was storage lockers. So I wanted to give a little background on first how we got to that topic. So storage lockers, one of the things that we did hear from the unsheltered population was that the storage of vital documents is very important for them to secure housing. So included in that is birth certificates, social security cards, any other documents that they may need to keep safe. So having a secure location was kind of one of the things that we came up with. So kind of through our research, we did come across storage lockers were used in other communities. So that's kind of how we got onto that topic. Furthermore, kind of one of the things that we first looked at on where this would work best in the community is looking for where there's already that traffic, where is a common place where the unsheltered population would go. The storage lockers did need to be stored inside, so outside was not an option. But also having enough space to store these was another one. So kind of looking through, city staff team looked at, I think we came up with a total of 18 different locations that were options. And this was the one that checked all those boxes.
I appreciate that. And further than just the only, well, was St. Vincent de Paul the only site that agreed to take on lockers?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's not the only meeting specifications. It's the only one that.
There's 17 that would meet it, but they were the one that had the most willingness to do so.
But we're not done with this. We'll continue to seek out additional locations.
Okay.
And there's only 12, and they're not huge, they're not big, they're not for, like, you can't put a lot of personal product.
Sure. I appreciate that. And just for the benefit of my colleagues, this is a fairly benign item that I otherwise, I think, am going to be supportive of, but there are a lot of questions in the community. For an item like this, I want to just get some things on the record and give folks some transparency. Because I think on stuff like this, one of the things that, 8 months into this role that is clear to me is there's certain folks that don't feel a high level of trust, and sometimes with us as an institution. And so I just want to make sure we can have some conversation on this item so that they can walk away feeling like they've been heard out. So, so one of the things when we've talked about this, Chris, and I appreciate you chatting with me a couple times today, is St. Vincent de Paul was chosen because, or offered to do this in whatever way it is, because they're already serving folks that are unhoused. What's the expectation in terms of the clientele or the people that would avail themselves of these lockers relative to the people that they're serving?
Yeah, they estimate there's approximately 100 clients they see monthly that are experiencing homelessness. So one of the things they offer, they have a food pantry service, kind of educational programming as well. I know they have clients in mind that have this need, so they're going to work closely with them just to be able to access the lockers. Lockers have a little biometric screening, kind of a thumbprint, to access each time. One of the things that we are trying to see through the pilot is just how many people use it. Is it something that we need to offer in other locations throughout the city? What other types of rules need to be used with it? They seem like a good partner to kind of willingness to work through that with us.
And this is a 6-month pilot?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So learn from it and decide what to do next afterwards?
Yep.
And have you talked to other municipalities where this has been done?
Staff has. I know that was part of what we did. It's been first used, I think the company that manufactures these are out in the state of Washington. So that's where a lot of our conversation has been done.
I think Cedar Rapids also had quite a
Cedar
few.
Rapids, yeah.
Cedar Rapids has like.
Staff did go there and
Yeah.
see that there.
So is it possible for St. Vincent de Paul to keep track of the folks that make use of these lockers and then be able to report back on, where they're from, or are they people that they'd worked with in the past, or they knew people that they're that are using these? We
could add that. We could add that criteria for what they report back to us. Definitely.
Okay, because I think that just to kind of pull this together and try and get this to a constructive point here, I think one of the major takeaways for me on this council representing Ward 1 has just been this belief from folks in this neighborhood that their neighborhood is where a lot of homeless services are put without their consent.
Yeah.
Which is why, a conversation and transparency is important in this moment on this one. And I don't think it's a resistance to the proposal.
Yeah.
But just justification and more of a relationship being developed where we can actually talk about these things and understand the impact that they have, because a lot of the services, that are right within that very small area are bringing folks to the neighborhood that aren't from that neighborhood. So they're bringing folks in there, and then the neighbors, they get an impact. They feel an impact off of that. Nobody's telling me not to do it.
Yeah.
But what they're telling me is, we want to be heard out. We want to be part of that process. And I think they also want to understand and have more of a conversation in terms of what a fair share of that impact would be for them. So the neighborhoods sent an email to me and my colleagues today, I thought, with some fair suggestions that I want to pursue. I know Margaret Wright's here, and I can't tell, maybe some other folks from the neighborhoods are here too, but I'm going to chat with you guys afterwards, and Chris, maybe bring you into that conversation as well, and just figure out some constructive ways, because there's some things folks have been asking for a while that I think are realistic, that will allow us to continue to meet the needs of this crisis, but also not do so in a way that is not blind to what folks in the neighborhood are telling us, and really values the investment that they've made in this city and their neighborhood. So I yield the floor if there's more conversation. If not, I'm willing to make a motion.
Chris, could you describe the size of these, or approximate?
3 foot tall,
They're thin.
18 inches wide. Yeah.
So enough for
It's
a couple suitcases, or?
Yeah,
No.
like, no.
Be lucky to put a backpack in
Well,
it.
gym locker, I think, of a high school,
It's about half the size of,
Yeah.
it's not as long, tall. I think the thing is that we understand the neighbors' needs and the community needs. This is an item that's there's 12 for the people that are, when you look at who's in the neighborhood currently, it is, like at Bethel Mission, or whether they're coming into St. Vincent de Paul. So again, it's a test to see, because one of the biggest issues for them, a lot of the people that experience homelessness, is losing your IDs or getting the benefits you need or the safety protection. So and it's all biometric. So it's not, no one else can get into it. So on that, there's been a motion. It's
Second.
been seconded. Please vote.
Yeah.
Seven
Motion,
yes.
motion carries. The next item is 53, amending Chapter 114 of the Municipal Code regarding traffic regulation changes as follows. A is parking modification, Walnut Street from Water Street to Second Avenue. B is parking modification, Des Moines Street from Robert D. Ray Drive to East Second Street. C is parking modification, 4th Street from Grand Avenue to Watson Powell Jr. Way. D is parking modification, St. Andrews Circle from Southeast 25th Street, the dead end west of Southeast 25th Street. E, code correction, East 13th Street from East Euclid Avenue to East Douglas Avenue. F, code correction, Gannett Avenue from Fleur Drive to Southwest 42nd Street. G is a speed limit and parking modifications, 2nd Avenue from Court Avenue to University Avenue. H is speed limit modification from 3rd Street from Watson Powell Jr. Way to University Avenue.
Mayor, I'll move 53A through H, and pursuant to Rule 42A, I will waive the second and third reading if no one objects.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please vote.
Seven yes.
Motion carries. Next item is 54, amending Chapter 114 of the Municipal Code regarding traffic regulation changes as follows. A, parking modifications related to changes in downtown DART bus stop locations. 1, 6th Avenue, Mulberry Street to Crocker Street. 2, 7th Street, High Street to University Avenue. 3, 7th Street, Park Street to University Avenue. 4, High Street to 6th Avenue to 12th Street. 5 Locust Street, 5th Avenue to 15th Street.
Can someone, I've had a lot of complaints about locusts down off of where the park is and stuff. And we already bag a lot of those at night, and then they have to remove them. So a lot of the businesses, is DART, I know they moved their stops. Are they just going to take away more parking down there where the stop is on Locust for the businesses? There's quite a few businesses down there that,
Along the entire avenue?
yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess I don't know what.
Actually adds some parking places downtown.
It does?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it does.
Because I know that someone had said they don't know what they're going to do in front of this one business downtown because the DART stops there and they keep bagging the meter where the DART
That wouldn't have anything to
spot
do with
is.
that.
Yeah,
For bagging.
because they moved the DART spot down further to where it
We can,
wasn't.
I think we can check on that. I don't.
Okay.
John Davis is in the,
I can have a
Chambers.
discussion with him afterwards if we want. Maybe we won't waive the second and third reading. We'll come back to that
Okay.
the next council meeting, if that's all right. We can have a discussion specifically of what I'm talking about. I'll move 54A 1 through 5.
second.
It's moved and seconded. Please vote.
7 yes.
Motion carries. Next item is the request to speak from the following. Each speaker will receive 3 minutes. And at this point, we provide speakers under the public speaking portion the opportunity to address the council for up to 3 minutes for up to 20 speakers for a total of 1 hour agenda. Speakers will be called forward individually, and we ask everyone to please state their name, address, or ward prior to providing comments. Please keep comments germane and avoid references to personalities or character attacks, as those types of comments do not contribute to the purpose of this public forum. As a reminder of the council and the public, this public speaking time is to hear your comments, and if there is need to follow up, we will get you to the appropriate staff or council after the meeting. Thank you for your support, and at this time, the first speaker is Tim Hickman.
Tim Hickman, 2222 Willamere Drive, Des Moines, Iowa. Mayor Bozen, council members, and City Manager Sanders, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. I'm here as both a private citizen and as president of the Board of Trustees of the Des Moines Public Library. Regarding the upcoming budget cuts up for fiscal year 2028, I want to thank you for soliciting input from the community. And as I review those responses, one observation is that the respondents appear to agree that the budget challenges should be distributed amongst all of the city departments. As the library's trustees have suggested, the savings should be proportional. We also see support for the savings being reversible, with facility closures ranking low in community feedback. The library is ready to do our part to solve this budget hurdle. As you prepare to approve the first round of budget cuts in your next meeting on September 14th, I would ask that you consider 2 requests from the library trustees on behalf of our city's diverse citizens. First, that you would not stray too far from the library's proportional share of the 2028 and 2029 projected $17 million savings. The proportional share would be $680,000, and we ask that you not reduce the library's budget more than $750,000. This would be a 10% increase of our proportional share. This is more than our share, but very doable. And secondly, I ask that you consider formally voting on the 14th to take the library closure item off the table for the 2028 and 2029 budget, ensuring that your fellow citizens have that their community library, warming center, public forum, and safe space will be available through all of fiscal years 2028 and 2029. I only have a few seconds, but in the challenging times our city faces, we need clear, courageous leadership that both protects the safety of our residents and nurtures their aspirations in ways that are accessible to everyone. That work is being done at the library. Please protect them. Thank you.
Thank you. Johns? Is it Russell Johns? Is that right? I don't. Okay. Carolyn Uhlenhage Walker? Do you have your surgery, Carolyn?
Not till November.
Okay.
Good evening. Carolyn Uhlenhage Walker, 4111 Ingersoll Avenue. I have been asked by Christy Lawson Snyder, the Green Iowa AmeriCorps worker and the sustainability coordinator that planned the 2026 summer camp at Oak Ridge, to present to you 2 student booklets that she brought tonight. Laura, could you put them on the screen? Okay, the theme of this summer camp for 7 weeks was on the Des Moines Climate Action Plan, ADAPT. It took 7 weeks, 61 kids, and 10 teachers to study the 7 focus areas of ADAPT, from buildings and energy to transportation and food, using speakers, science projects, and even doing a home energy audit at their homes. These books that you see in front of you are a thank you to the City Council for passing the Climate Action Plan, ADAPT, back in 2023. That truly thinks about the future. Please take a few minutes when we present these to you to look at these projects and pictures of the kids. Christy and I are also representing the Des Moines Citizens Task Force on a goal to reach the 2030, which is 4 years away, the 2030 goal of 45% reduction in greenhouse gases. We have gone through everything trying to figure out what we can do that would reach that in 4 years without money, since we have a budget crisis. And the one thing that keeps coming up is the benchmarking ordinance of large buildings that was passed back in 2019 and needs to be re-implemented at this time. This will truly make a difference in greenhouse gases that are going to be reaching the goal at 2030 of 45% reduction. So please think about that. It will also help building owners save money and affect us reaching our goal. Let's do this. Let's bring back the benchmarking book thing to really help, and do this for the Oak Ridge kids that studied the ADAPT plan and all kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Kay Riley. Kay Riley. Do we need to receive and file?
Mayor, I'll move to receive and file the documents. You already got it?
Coming up.
No, I was moving to receive and file the documents that she gave to Councilmember Barron.
Are those for the city to keep or just to look at?
Or just
We
so,
could look at them, or we could get.
okay, I didn't know if there was, okay, then we don't need to. I thought there were copies for
One of
every,
each, so maybe we
okay.
can-
Okay. Yep.
Never mind. We don't.
Never mind.
I thought there were copies.
We're
for
good.
everybody.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Kay.
Okay. My name is Kay Riley. I live at 2910 Cayuga Point on the south side of Des Moines. In the late 1980s, I was the chair of the Library Board of Trustees during the time that the city wanted to shut down the Mid-City Library. It was a controversial time that ultimately resulted in a swath of strong library supporters coming together to build Forest Avenue Library. I became aware at that time that libraries are sanctuaries for people. They go to them for many different reasons: to look for resources, to find work, to seek information they can't find elsewhere, to be with others in a safe space, to get out of the heat or cold and know that they and everyone else is welcome to be there. There is a photo of the Des Moines Library during the Depression in the 1930s. The reading room is full of people reading newspapers and books, searching for a way to survive those desperate times. Andrew Carnegie believed that a democracy needs libraries to survive. He wanted everyone, no matter their socioeconomic status, race, ethnicity, or ability, to have the opportunity to better themselves. Libraries hold those American values, and they are the soul of our city. I hear a lot of talk from the council about the need for safety. The city provides no safer place than a library. The library and its patrons are good civic partners, and they're responsible corporate citizens as well. Therefore, I urge you to limit the cuts to $750,000 this year, which is more than the library's proportion, and to take closing a library off the table. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, I'll move to receive and file 55A through D.
It's been moved and seconded. Please vote.
Seven, yes.
Motion to adjourn, Your Honor.
Okay, is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you for coming.